Hello guys, I'm Mariano the Trading Parrot, and in today's video I'm gonna give you a very quick update on how things are going with Bitcoin. We just had the final reading of PPI coming up at 0.2% as opposed as the forecast of 0.3% and prior 0.4%. And tomorrow coming in the core inflation rate and inflation reports. It's going to be a very interesting day. The update today is going to cover what's going on with the price action on Bitcoin. We'll continue to monitor the differences between 2024 and 2020 cycle. I'll give you an update on the breakout and whether I think there's still some room for upside. And of course, liquidation levels, order book, and everything going on in the exchanges. Guys, if you like this type of content, make sure that you are subscribed to the Coin Bureau Trading channel. I'm committed to publishing at least 3 videos a week in Coin Bureau Trading, and together with Dan and Aaron, the channel is packed with alpha, tutorials, educational content. Pretty much every day you're gonna find 1 or 2 videos published. And if you want to stay on top of the price action on Bitcoin, altcoins, and even with macro perspective, make sure that you're also subscribed to the Trading Parrot channel. I publish daily videos. Some days I go beyond and maybe 2 or 3 videos. It all depends if I don't have flu. And by the way, tomorrow guys, there's an upcoming live stream with Benjamin Cowen. I have it as a guest in Coin Bureau Trading channel, so make sure that you're subscribed. Do me a favor, hit the notification on so you get notified when the live stream goes live. And the chat is already open, so if you want to leave a question down there, that is awesome. Otherwise, I made the same question in my Telegram channel and I'm already accumulating 20 questions for tomorrow. I'm very keen to know what you guys would like me to ask Ben, or what topics of discussions do you think will work well in a live stream of TTP and Ben together. So yesterday we put a new low. So far we have 15.77 drawdown, so we need to move this now, and it's becoming almost 18%. Remember that testing the bull market support band or even going beyond, it's something possible. We'll talk about liquidation levels in these areas and potential likelihood of still going there. Although, as you probably know, I'm already in a long because I still think that it's likely that there could be an outcome from this potential bull flag, assuming that this stays like this and we see a breakout to the upside. And the reason for thinking that is just by comparing 2025 January with 2021 January. You can see that we have a high early January, and in 2025 it was in mid-December, a bit late. We have this dead cat bounce in here to 102.7 and in here to 40k, and after that we have a C wave towards the Fibonacci of 1. I spent so much time explaining to you guys in the previous week that I'm not counting on this holding the price necessarily and leaving funds in case we reach the golden pocket extension of 1618 at 75k. And finally enough, we just pinched the beginning of this pocket. So 0786 was where we bounced back into support, and at the moment is being determined if there will be another attempt to come here. To be fully honest, since my order was $50 stupid away from getting filled on this bounce down, I'm pretty keen for seeing the price actually coming back into here and getting my second order filled. On 2021, as you can see, the pocket got visited 2 times. The first time it put a low and then a higher low at 29.3, and then after that, that was kind of the golden entry before the explosive move to the upside. On the weekend, we had a breakout that I published on Twitter, Instagram, and Telegram. That was a fake out. That was on Sunday, was low volume, and I published it labeling it as a low quality breakout that turned out to become a fake out to the downside. Right after that, we reclaimed the global support in here, and that started calling out for a breakout. On Sunday, before going to sleep, I couldn't keep my eyes out of this because we were about to have a second attempt to break resistance on the 4-hour time frame on RSI, and you can see that it ended up closing at RSI 52, producing an actual breakout. At that time, the price was at around 94k, and it continued rallying over 97k. So for me, that kind of fulfilled most of the full target to end the need to come for 97. Remember that on Sunday when the price was here, we were talking about going to 96 to 97.5 while making you aware that in the longer term there is this huge liquidity. So what happened is on Sunday, we pinched part of the long-term liquidity. We didn't take it all. So if you look at 1, 2, and 3, we got 3 big chunks of liquidity that we are going to continue talking about on the downside. This one is from 88, now the leftover 88.8 towards more or less 85. It becomes larger again at 79.5 towards 75, and then you have 69.5 to 65.8. So this was a nice liquidity hunt because we came back below, put a new low, and then regain the support. And that was actually bullish. And I was talking on Twitter and with some shorts on YouTube that this is putting a double bottoming formation, and the neck is roughly at 95.8. So in my opinion, and I'm gonna move this line so you can see what is the neck of the W pattern, because I want this wick to touch the neck there, in here, and then the breakout candle. So what I'm seeing at the moment is a retest of the neck. If we fail to hold 95.8, there is a higher chance that the W bottom formation won't be able to achieve the full target of 103K. This target comes from the high of the double bottom formation. So let's place it again. I think roughly is 102.6 to be more precise. So now we are doing that retest. Let's see if it's gonna hold. It is a little bit curving down on the RSI, but I think there's still room to go into the red on the cross-fee ratio. I think it's just following the general markets. Hopefully they're gonna continue to behave decently towards the inflation reports so it can hit new highs. Many people were talking about head and shoulders in this area, and we have reached 97, and they're probably wondering if the head and shoulders is still in play. I think this whole formation in here reminds me of the first stop of 2021. I already mentioned that, and it's still a little bit bearish until we break above this line at the top. If we continue going higher, we could put a bullish cross on the MACD. So far, we have put 3 bearish crosses, which is pretty annoying. 2 of them bullish that turn into a fake out. So hopefully the third bullish cross is not a fake out. Finally, let's look at the daily time frame very quickly, and we continue just ranging. People talk about these dumps that are currently happening and how come we are in the middle of a bear market. But look, we just experienced 100% up in Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is just chilling in here in a sideways move, pinching very carefully and elegantly the lows at 89. When we pinch this area in here in mid-December, what did we say? It's very likely that we're gonna have to go all the way to the bottom of the range, and at the very least pinch it once. And I'm not saying this is it. Now that we pinch it and we recover inside, we're ready to go and break the tops, but it was bullish and it has taken us at least for a fraction of a day above the point of control, located at the moment at 96.977. So far, that is rejecting us, telling us that on the daily, Bitcoin is still not ready to go into the bullish area. Let's see how we close the daily. It will be really bullish to see Bitcoin above 96.9 from the point of view of the daily time frame. On the daily RSI, things are starting to look exciting again because this looks like a bottoming formation, although we have a big spike in here to 62, which is gonna make very difficult to actually form a full bottoming formation in here. That's true. It would have been easier if this didn't go that high and then we get something like this, but hey, this is trading. Nothing is perfect in trading, really. You need to get used to that. The resistance at the moment is at 56, and we got 35 and 29 or 30 in here still being support. So I'm just gonna have to change the 55. Let's change it to 58. And then we have the 66 that is somewhere in here. That is the resistance coming from this white line that rejected us, proving that it's still relevant resistance. That time was 62, but I'm assuming that it will take a little bit longer. So maybe we get there when it's 66. So now looking at those levels, how far they are, and Bitcoin to produce an actual breakout, contrarian to this rejection that we had there, it needs to close a daily candle now above 100K. Funny Bitcoin. Levels of support are at 87.7. Now this one is 82.8. So we have this chunk in there that corresponds with what the statistics are saying should be the support if we go lower, which is the 35 I already mentioned on the daily RSI, or the last line in the sand, which is the global support provided by this red line that spans all the way to mid-August, and it has been tested already 3 times. As I've been saying since we are around here in November, going to global support is not something that we typically do at this time in the cycle, but this cycle has a few anomalies, like rallying too much in here, rallying before the halving, the ETFs, the institutions, the lack of liquidity, you name it. There's loads of new things changing the cycle. And let's go back to the day-to-day. On the 4-hour, we had a CME gap there, and as you can see, in my humble opinion, this looks like it was still relevant, regardless of being just a few dollars thick. The price went straight to 97.1, and it got rejected so far from precisely that level, not just 1 but 3 candles in a row. That to me looks like there was an intention to go to 97 due to liquidity being there. Now what we need to see if that was it, whether that liquidity there, the CME liquidity plus this short-term liquidity, was what attracted the price into here, and then we're gonna break below all these levels of resistance and come back and turn it again into resistance, or if we're gonna successfully retest at around 95.8 and continue on our way to the upside. There are events coming tomorrow, economic, and we're getting close to the inauguration of Trump. And speaking about that, I have my thoughts. It's either a sell the news, in which case, if this continues, it could be a rally into that day. There tends to be rallies every time that there's something Trump related. Remember the last time that Trump talked about Bitcoin and crypto in a very bullish way. Crypto rallied that day, and then it was a sell the news with a big correction. So that could be the case. But if we started seeing rejection on 97 and we started coming back down into red and continue to sell off, even getting into 78k, which I also have orders around there, in that case, the day of the inauguration, potentially that could revert aggressively. I expect something to go in one direction and then make a U-turn and trick everyone. That's kind of the typical theme around these events in general, most of the time, not always, of course. If there was a rally with Bitcoin, whether pre-event or post-event, I will be looking very interested into this liquidity in here, which starts from 112 and ends at 127. And remember, don't think liquidity must be taken all. Many times a pump sees all the liquidity and then it pumps like this, reaches that level and it crashes. And then it takes months to take that. So don't be that dude that puts an order here, sits down and goes for holidays just to realize that he couldn't take any profits and then blames the tool. Let's look into the order book and what's going on at the moment. We had twice in a row a great setup with the funding rates being in the red, negatives that happened on the 9th of January and later on 13th of January. That was in alignment with seeing an increased bidding in the order book. These green lines is because we are above a ratio, and every time that happens, we tend to be very close to a local bottom. And it was precisely the case in here. At the moment, liquidation levels in the short term are affecting more the longs. We just flip when we started breaking out to the upside, putting longs at higher risk at the moment. That risk additional is 333k affecting the longs. The placement of orders, you can tell that on this second attempt to break the lows, we had again some demand in here, but it was less than on the 9th of January, but still good enough to put a high. And one thing that I'm observing when looking at the delta of longs versus shorts is how narrow is the oscillation in this period that starts late December. Why is this happening now? That's the question. We've been since August, you can see in here, doing a very wide waving from lows to high with a big span actually, and following a channel that hits each and every high and top very harmonically. Then we noticed that the channel started going into the downside, but as we went into the downside, it stopped respecting the lows. Sure, I'm not expecting shorts to go that low in the line. Looking back in the past, we are not gonna find levels that low, but the oscillation, you probably agree with me that in here is the most narrow area relative to everything from April last year, and it remains very close to that resistance where the longs eventually should step in and push this line higher. Look at how many times the green reaches highs relative to the middle line in all this period, and then in this period we barely go into the green and then back into the red, but that red is also not very deep either. And the way I interpret that is I'm expecting a squeeze, guys. I'm expecting some big move in here. This is not just coming from net longs versus shorts, but also from observing other indicators, Bollinger Bands with ATRs, you name it, but there has to be a big move. Whichever the move is, if we go down and we hit these levels, I'm gonna be making sure that you are aware of that on Twitter, Telegram, and Instagram. You can find all my links if you look at any description of the videos on the Trading Parrot channel. Do not search for me on Telegram, Instagram or Twitter, because you're just gonna find the scammer accounts that are trying to impersonate me. Levels of liquidations at the moment, you can see that we left untouched the 97.4. That was the slightly more aggressive target. I mentioned 96.2 and then 97.5, and we left that on the table. Below the price, that 90k is significant, but the 97.5 continues to be larger, and so is the area of the 103. We took a few fair value gaps, like this one, and that one, and now we have fair value gaps below the price at 95.5, spanning all the way to 92.5. To be honest, I wouldn't mind a move to 92.5 like this, because in that case, you get kind of this shape that to me is bullish, as long as we get later a breakout once again above 96, 97. So Bitcoin, you have my permission to go to 92.5, do that, come back here in a few days, and let's continue with the rest of the fair value gaps. That is my wish. It is likely, it is possible, it is not guaranteed. I'm just gonna cover very quickly general markets. You can see the VIX is stuck in this range in here. Thanks to the breakout on the RSI in here, I'm expecting some big moves. Gold is coming back down, retesting the breakout to the upside. Dollar is being held by this line that I discovered this morning. I connected quite with a long area in there, and projection from 85 to what happened in 2022. We are right there testing that line. You can see it from closer. That is more or less $110 on the dollar. Nasdaq and S&P are now on a weekly candle in green, but facing the 21 weekly MA from different angles. The Nasdaq from above testing it as support, and the S&P testing it as a resistance. Very interesting move. I think everybody's looking at the general markets and hoping that it's not gonna do something too big in here that is definitely gonna shake everything, not just stocks, but definitely crypto and altcoins. So let's do a quick wrap up. We are facing at the moment that 97 as a resistance. It seems that Bitcoin went there just for that. I think that there's still an opportunity to go slightly above it. There is some leftover there. We'll have to see. I continue to ride my order at 91.8, and if Bitcoin comes to this pocket and fills my order and that becomes the actual spring, I will be more than happy to revisit this area. I still have my order at 75 just in case. I reserve the right to change any of my plans and do my best to let you know on Telegram. Do your own research. Don't mimic me. I can do terrible, and it's not my responsibility to take your decisions. That is on you. Guys, if you want to trade with awesome exchanges, we got the best bonuses and discounts to trade. Starting with CoinCatch, $5,000 in bonus. This is non-KYC. We also have Tubit as non-KYC, this time 9K in bonus and 40% fee discounts. Large exchanges with an extensive list of coins, products, trading bots. Then you can pick between Bybit and OKX, but be aware that they do require KYC in most places where they are available. I'll see you on the next one, and make sure that you hit the notification on and leave a comment in the live stream with Ben tomorrow. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.